go to the channel and refresh. It's good?
I got a notification too.
Oh, cool. You might have it on all, though. That's why.
Maybe.
By default, it's just like certain numbers of notifications per day, so. All right. See you in the chat.
All right.
Love you.
Yep.
Bye.
Frank Union Paul 4821. Taking out of Euclid, she says. It was between here and 152 National. Check the area. Code 4 if you had 0964.
All right, copy.
Okay, 1903. Adam 23 arriving at County.
Charlie 25 radio.
Okay. I copy 1903.
13 radio. Myself and Adam 24 are going to go to the barber shop to check it again because Mom is adamant that Dad is still there.
Okay, guess I got.
You sure you're 13? Radio. 23 has one female detained at this time. One female under.
Detained.
Sorry.
Can I, I'm gonna give you a call.
Copy that.
Female under was Adam 23 at 1904. Kelly 25 and Adam 24. Copy, you guys are going to go to Superior to check the barbershop again. I'm going to guess that Paul North was a negative again.
Yeah, we spoke with Narcora Dotson,
Oh, shit.
and she said she doesn't know any Brandon, has never heard of any of the parties involved, and is not sure why we were given her name and address.
Okie dokie.
I know works for the Indigo. Sanitary 3, she did let us search her apartment. So, GOA or ETO.
Thank you.
Adam, you can send us that 0921.
Party G3, what's our chat?
Thank you. She's going to be over by Glenview Park. It looks like she needs to go to 10726 DuPont. See Summer. She needs assistance getting her child from her child's father. She has paperwork. Looks like he picked the child, a 3-year-old, up at daycare and refused to give the child back. He's been driving around in the area by her. Keeps driving around the block. Probably no car seat in the car, she's saying. Let's see if she gives a description of the car. Unknown weapons. He drives a gray Jeep. What kind of car is she going to be in? The 656. Oh, probably going to be in a silver Malibu. So 2. Yeah, 0921.
6568, go ahead. Copy.
1906.
All right, sir, for 2455 Baldwin, Miss Allworth has called back again, advising that her son is still on scene, causing a disturbance, throwing bricks at her vehicle this time. Also, emergency maintenance, Mr. Brooks called. He advised that he's having a unit or a personnel respond out to repair the windows and requesting that someone be on scene when repairs are being done due to the male acting out.
Reader to CM24.
Good.
Okay, ready. If you still have Mr. Brooks on the line, could you advise him to have his personal contact with us within at least 5 minutes out?
Bernie 22, are you still at Fairview? Can you locate CAD number 1001?
Bernie T2, you going across?
Yeah, you're still at Fairview?
Yes, ma'am. We're waiting on a room for the pediatric department, so we're still sitting with this juvenile.
2-1, we see it, we can take it.
Copy that. Let me clear off this one. Send it to me.
Copy. Hey, Adam, 2-1, I copy. Do you want me to clear you?
Radio, have you seen the night shift units coming in yet?
3263 here. You show us everything we're concerned with over here. I was saying individual balloons were in green as you can see. Hasn't been here for a couple of days. We're gonna try and get a phone number for him.
From 101, 104. Where has he been? Do we know?
Really here isn't sure.
Dispatch will then to the Baldwin. If he's still committing these acts, he can go to jail for vandalism, for breaking out the window, and potentially domestic violence.
Go ahead.
He was advised of such. If you would, man, people get zeros, I'll be called 7104, during zone per 103. Person array is going to be CP1. Additionally, if you would, just go with that call.
It is a already to disturbance, damage of property, refusing for 2455 Baldwin, 2455 Baldwin Road. Tamika Stallworth says her 20-year-old son, Tramel, is outside throwing bricks at her vehicle. She has a dark gray 2005 Ford Freestyle.
Adam 23.
23.
482, female's non-arrival. They give a report number. Can I get the last part of this case?
09430943.
26 radio. We got one female under in Rapid County, starting now 046. Thank you, Dad. 2536.
Go. Radio, that male's an adult. I thought he was a juvenile.
Yeah, we're clear on Manor. We'll be back up for Mark taking in her in his property.
And she states that he's 20 years old. 1909.
He's not a juvenile, he's 20.
Alright, sounds good, man. 1909. Holy no, if anything crazy comes down. Perfect. He can go for felony vandalism through the window and whatever new acts he's committed. We can put an end to this tonight.
We appreciate it.
Radio to Adam 23, I have one for you.
I'm hoping I'm not such a black cloud tonight. Time will tell.
423 radio. Can we get a second CAD generator for assault report?
Radio to Adam 23, I have one for you.
Alright. Second cat 1005, and that's stacked on you.
Filter.
425 to radio. Do you want us to take a look at that prowler at 3000 Brook Park?
Copy, thank you. Do you want me to clear you on the last? Thank you. If you and your partner can head over to 12409 Chesterfield. Callers from the upstairs. Sharon says a guy walked up into her driveway and then took off in a car.
Yes, please.
They went into the backyard and then back down the driveway. Got into a loud vehicle. No make, model, or color. Suspect is black male, tall, light complected, red coat or jacket. She just wants police to check the area. Code 3, CAD 1004. Clarissa is calling. She's at 3000 Brook Park West 13. She states that they're
Gonna come, we're gonna go.
Adam 22 arriving.
she's in the trailer park walking around with gas cans. They're trying to get gas from people's cars. They're also knocking on doors, ringing doorbells. They've been there for about a half hour. She said 2 white males, about 15, 16. One's wearing a gray hoodie and jeans. The other's wearing a black hoodie and jeans. This is the Parma Estate. Our caller's 19 and home alone. And they're crouching around the trailer. CAD is 1000.
Adam 25 radio.
1911. Goodbye.
Roger, radio. 222, we're getting back to our car. We're about to clear. Do you need us for something over here?
Go ahead.
And then you can see on 87th. We're going to head back to 3 to finish the report from earlier, enter some evidence, and then confer with Adam 23 when we get back. You can put me in service. I'll be call sign 101 on vehicle 102, and I'll be radio BB14 needed.
1911.
Copy 1911.
Adam 22, the caller is still at Glenview Park in the parking lot. I advise her to put on a four-way flash.
638 radio vehicle 101. I'm going to go en route to the Baldwin with the units.
Copy.
Charlie 23 arriving in UH.
9212.
David 23734.
9212.
Charlie 2 on the radio.
Go ahead.
I'm on steam at the ER. You mind doing a call back to the emergency room?
12.
Welcome, whoever's here. Heading back.
Kelly, do you want to use your car? She's walking to you.
Listen to the Cleveland scanner. It's pretty busy. Friday night. Hey, Brandon, Derek.
Party 25, the radio. Can you advise road boss, camera data connection with 8 platoon, badge 2352?
I should be home about quarter after 9. I drive straight through and don't run into anything. Oh, been a hard one.
Party 24 radio.
Party 24.
Pigskin.
Radio to Adam 23. Can you check bot 2?
Yeah, can you give a call back and maybe see if she has an updated location, if she was pinging that, because that was a while ago that it said 152 in Aspinwall, and we checked over there and checked over on 147, we don't see it.
Yeah, I'm just stealing gas.
The address on Baldwin.
2-3, you can go ahead and send it.
So now I'm done with the call back. Come on.
2455, 2455.
All right, copy.
638, sir, I'm just passing the GDC here in front.
Sweet.
I couldn't copy your traffic.
Apologies, I'm just passing GDC. I'll be there in a second. 2-2, when you're finished up with that, I got another code 2 for you up the street from that one.
4300 Brad, please. 4300 Bradley at lot 2. We're supposed to have a male with a green F-150 scrapping. No plate on the vehicle, lots of scrap. It's falling all over. It's driving somewhat erratic. Now they're fighting with the male. Cat is 1010.
Damn.
Participant on channel 1 for West 84th and Clark. Be on the lookout for a black Cadillac driving recklessly. Started at Ridge and Denison. Went down 84th from Denison towards Lorraine and Clark.
Copy. Is this going to be sensible off of Woodhill or Baldwin? It's going to be the better approach.
It's upgraded to a code 1.
Ooh.
And then be on the lookout for a black Cadillac driving recklessly. West 84th and Clark. Park test time was 1915.
Thinking it's the first one off of Mount Carmel, is it? The 2455? I'm thinking it's probably best to come in from Baldwin, I would assume.
Sergeant Sorotovic's the one calling this in.
2-3.
That address is going to be north of Baldwin and Mount Carmel.
1916.
I don't know any of the areas around here in Cleveland.
We're pulling up. I think.
656, what was he wearing when you saw? It wasn't a black and red jogging suit, was it?
Buying that shopping center camera, right? Negative, black jacket, real slim guy, maybe gray sweatpants.
Brookview Tavern?
Alright, Ray, you can show me around.
This is Brookview Plaza, so when it says tavern, I'm guessing it's
Or gray jeans.
Fucking hunk of wood in the road.
I copy, correct.
Hopefully there's no nails in it.
the caller's still on scene. 2-2, you guys copy that? Never mind. 2 go ahead, thanks, man. It's gonna be at 9413 Holden. We got Johnny calling from the hospital.
Yeah, he's going to show you where it's at.
Okay.
1917.
I believe he's gonna be outside with Mom.
Stated that the 2 gentlemen that put him in the hospital are now on scene at his home breaking out car windows. Says his sister is there to give the report. Suspect Charles Johnson and Alvin Stone.
Maybe not.
It's coming out now.
They can't protect you.
No descriptions of the round. This is all coming third party. It's code 21009.
For the unit to be advised, also on just the maintenance report on scene for the window.
And if you guys worked yesterday, you handled the same call.
That's for the base. We copy that right here.
Oh, yeah.
I cover that. Yeah, I tore ticket level with baggage claim. I didn't see any finger guns, and I didn't see anybody disturbing. Everything checks okay.
Thank you.
I apologize, Ray. That number, the number on that address.
844 voicemail.
2455 2455.
2-3.
Hey, he says it's enough car. Hey,
2-5, yeah, that way.
it's gonna be the last address of the row house north of Baldwin and Mount Carmel. The old section.
This is
Oh, did you see that again?
Cleveland Police and Metro Housing Authority together.
6533 still in the area.
Thank you.
I'm Broadcastify or
Yeah, it's
scanner.com, whatever.
It's up in the octagon.
One or 8 cars from down there.
Copy that.
Big pothole ahead, it says.
It's on this side over here.
Yeah.
I come on.
Nope.
Okay, be there in a second.
Are you saying either 16th and Denley or 1663 Denley?
Let's see it.
Greater than Charlie 236 Abbott.
Let's see no pothole.
2-3, you guys good? Charlie 2 pick up.
Was she able to get a hold of one outside assistance or anything?
2-3, good. Radio's got one female tank. Hey, Rich, I'll walk up to the arcade ramp just to make sure he gets on the train.
Copy, just check for
Yeah, 2-2, the same 2-3.
Alright, I got you.
Yeah, 2-8 just came into service. I'm gonna send you the DB. 2-8, can you go give them a hand on Orleans?
What? Yeah, of course. Can I give you a call?
Thanks.
Yeah, 5509. LG4 and Charlie 25 arriving at 113th and Superior.
You want to ready?
1919? Thank you.
2-8, what exactly is going on at New Orleans?
I got you. They got a female detained. They're not in any trouble. They just asked for a second car there. Okay, we're not for Mason. Cover that.
Maybe 2-2 radio.
Consider the party chief said. You should have one on London. Alright.
Ray, you can let maintenance know that the male's been arrested and it's going to be safe for them.
I'm clear. Why don't you send me Worthington?
Yes, dude. Hold it one on London.
Go ahead, what's your call? I'm sorry.
Okay, copy. I sent it to you. The captain is 0937.
Charlie 200, David 26. I'm coming from Emerald Parkway out here.
I I copy. I'm coming from the camped area, so I'm not too much farther off than you.
Copy, we're heading that way.
1921. Do you guys mind checking now?
Go ahead.
Thanks, there you go.
Yeah, so now we're
But
yeah, we're recording.
sounds good, man.
I'm gonna turn Michael Malice back on once we get out of the city.
1, 2, 3, 10, 2, 4.
Go ahead.
How you call?
Yes, call 5411. How are you?
Go ahead.
We have the 20-year-old male social police.
Alright, David 26, can you check these parking violators?
What an asshole.
Yeah, you said it.
272-08-4767. 272-08-4767.
That's some fresh tasting pork skins there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna poke around and go.
Almost as good as the microwave ones.
Thanks, 1922. You guys have an ETA for Denley?
Alright, just get
Alright, here. Did you already with the on number?
2-3 will be there shortly.
I copy.
2-4 radio, clear. Going to tell me with 003.
2-7, you're on Denley.
So over 1,000 calls today.
Actually, I was hoping to send you the one on Family Dollar. Those guys are still, they're still waiting. I need to
Yeah, for both.
That's for the base.
Right.
Donegan's on the train with 2 others, and the train's gone.
And Bernie 26, don't close that tab.
Radio Charlie 21. Do you mind knocking out a report run for me?
Right on, man.
Please. Thanks.
Thank you. It's going to be over to laundromat, Plaza for
Yeah.
161.
Alright, let's see what else there is. We're almost out of
Corey or William.
the outer limits
When they
here.
were over there, some guy pulled up and he gave me all belongings out of the car. Maybe charged me first. They just want to give it over to the police, so maybe get into
Western suburbs.
Or, yeah, 0835.
Moon. Like the big thing in the sky, moon? Or am I not understanding you? See what you're talking about. I'll pull it up on my other phone. Maybe go back, feedback here when I open up.
At one point, they literally had less than $1,500 in their bank accounts, but now Tencent has recently become the 10th largest company in the world, with a total value of over $1.6 trillion, going on to control almost the entire internet and gaming industry. Riot Games, Epic Games, Ubisoft, Discord, Reddit, and even Tesla, quickly monopolizing the entire tech industry. And yet, funnily enough, almost no one's ever heard of this company. So how did they get so big so quickly, and why does no one really know their name? Well, by abusing the law, sabotaging the competition, abusing human rights, and working with the CCP, Tencent has risen to the top and shows no signs of stopping. Because Tencent isn't just a company, they are a weapon of the Chinese government. And now that Tencent's position at the top has been set in stone, the Chinese communists are now eager to exploit it to the fullest. Using Tencent's centralized structure, the CCP has massively increased its global surveillance, censorship, and control. And right now, governments around the world are doing everything they can to destroy Tencent. Because Tencent is one of the most dangerous companies in the world, and it's time we talk thought about it. You see, at first, Tencent was just a simple startup company. In late 1998, Tencent was founded and they released their first product just months later. The founders started the company after seeing the popularity of foreign instant messaging services. They thought they could release a better version that focused on China, and so they did just that, releasing OICQ just a few months after the company's launch. But even this early on, Tencent weren't strangers to dirty tactics. Their first bump came by stealing the name of a foreign competitor. They named their product OICQ, adding the word open to the already popular app ICQ. But these dirty tactics worked wonderfully, and the messenger program would quickly...
I used to love ICQ.
It started at just 500 users, but every day after release, more and more people flooded in, eventually causing many problems, as the server infrastructure in China was so expensive in the early 2000s. In fact, Tencent almost bankrupted itself multiple times trying to accommodate their massive growth, and the situation was made even worse when they were sued for stealing the name. But after arranging some deals with venture capital firms in the CCP, the company got through its early growing pains, although they eventually had to change the app's name to QQ. However, it was these early venture capital firms' investments into Tencent that would turn out to be one of the most valuable investments in history, because Tencent's QQ gained 1 million users in its first year and 50 million in the next year. And so within just the span of a few years, Tencent monopolized the instant messaging market in China. But the founders knew that this was just the beginning. They wanted greater things. They wanted to take on Silicon Valley head first and bring about a new golden age of technology in China. The company would keep reinvesting its profits, where they would buy other services and swallow them up into QQ, meaning that QQ grew to be the first Chinese mega app, letting users control nearly every aspect of their lives from one place. They added shopping, social media, online dating, banking, antivirus software, everything you could think of. And as Tencent did this, they pushed out the...
Kind of like what Elon wants to do with the Q app, or X app.
Within 5 years of its founding, Tencent and the CCP were building a deep and well-connected relationship. And so both Tencent and the government would exploit their partnership to the fullest, to control both the markets in China as well as its people. Because China was seeing the technology would be pivotal for their plans of global dominance. As outlined in the 2049 plan, China has been destined to be the #1 global superpower. But the only way they could do this was through technology, through influencing the world through the internet. But we're still talking about the early days. No one fully knew how powerful social media would be, but the Chinese government did understand that it would be pivotal to their success. And so the Chinese government and Tencent grew the company into becoming a massive conglomerate, hoovering out features and companies, turning a simple messaging service into an empire. And to do this, they would crush their competitors. Like in late 2010, when Tencent tried to supplant the most popular Chinese antivirus app, 360 Safeguard. First, they released their own version called QQ Doctor, which they of course integrated into QQ, giving them an immediate 40% market share. But when the makers of 360 Safeguard refused to give up, they made it so that QQ would stop working if it detected 360 Safeguard on the same system. Tencent then used these tactics to bully their opponents into submission, and it was making them an unstoppable monopoly. A monopoly that would be the perfect tool in China's arsenal. Or so it seemed, because this particular case of monopolistic actions eventually took the notice of the Chinese Supreme Court. They knew they had to do something about their baby Tencent, as businesses and the elite of China were outraged by Tencent's actions. They'd been getting away with way too many aggressive actions for years against their own Chinese populace. And so with the CCP eventually stepping in fact Tencent's own executive boards were littered with CCP officials. The two were so intertwined that Tencent was basically an extension of the CCP. And so the next part of Tencent's strategy was to exploit this partnership to the fullest. Now in this period of the early 2010s, Tencent was making billions from QQ. It's exactly the kind of soft power Beijing is looking at was just a weapon of the Chinese government. For example, Tencent literally makes their employees celebrate a special holiday commemorating the government, with the 15th of July being a party member day at Tencent. And so of course with Tencent's growing power over the world, the CCP were very keen to use this influence to enforce their censorship techniques. And this close integration is all a part of China's grand plan for technology. But it wouldn't seem like this just from looking at Tencent's early story. On paper, they look just like any other startup, battling for investments, trying to keep up with growth, reinvesting everything. It seemed to everyone that Tencent was just the equivalent of a Silicon Valley startup. And when it comes to Tencent's image, this is exactly what they want you to think. China portrays its companies just like any other.
Refresh!
They're designed and built to become another part of the CCP. They use these companies like weapons. And that's how they've gone from only having $1,000 to becoming a multi-billion business in just a few years. I mean, it's hard to underestimate how early the CCP were involved in Tencent. And as it grew, the influence of the CCP grew as well. So once Tencent looked like it was going to be the next big thing, the CCP would continue to encourage its growth. They gave it all the monopolies it could want in exchange for closer control, giving the Tencent executives hundreds of millions, all in return for the power they had gained.
Well, Tencent is a private company with Chinese characteristics. In China, pretty much every company that's made it big is only big because it has links to the Communist Party. Here's Tencent CEO Pony Ma and another famous tech CEO, Jack Ma, no relation, clapping during a speech Xi Jinping gave at the Great Hall of the People. Boy, they were given great seats. That speech where everyone was forced to clap. Xi Jinping said that the Communist Party would maintain leadership over all tasks. That includes tech companies. Both Jack and Pony were also honored at that event for their outstanding contributions to China's economy.
Which is why the CCP is now dominating the corporate landscape, and now has de facto management of all its large tech companies. Huawei, Alibaba, ByteDance, and Tencent, despite beginning as dreams of entrepreneurs, have all now, and all the other Chinese billionaires who don't capitulate to the CCP's demands often end up in prison or just magically disappearing. And so with this context in mind, it should be no surprise that by 2011, Tencent had nearly 6,000 CCP members within its ranks, and that same fit to install their own committee into Tencent's leadership structure. Through this committee, the CCP took complete control of all of Tencent's apps, and through Tencent's apps, QQ and WeChat, the CCP would go on to control every aspect of the Chinese internet. Every message that goes through these apps is subject to a set of algorithms and keyword checks, going past all of the government censors, which is why some words are outright blocked, whilst others are flagged and put a target on your back, with many Chinese citizens being imprisoned for saying the wrong things. And also, any image you send is also scanned against a database of known banned images and censored. Within these systems, the CCP can censor the public discourse almost completely. Anything that criticizes the CCP, anything related to their opponents, or anything that doesn't match their so-called socialist principles is removed. But it goes beyond just censorship, because these apps govern so many parts of everyday life, giving the CCP access to all sorts of private information, payment information, actual location, who you're associating with. This all feeds into the CCP's social credit system, helping the government create an incredibly detailed picture of whoever they want, all based on what they can learn from their phone.
So, picture your life in a place where everything you do, what you buy, how you behave, is tracked. The government gives you a score, and the score is a measure of how trustworthy you are as a citizen, and determines what you're allowed to do, like ever. Boarding a train, getting a mortgage, all goes back to this score. It's called social credit.
But before we continue, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Guardio. Now, with all the data concerns that Tencent is bringing to your online privacy, Guardio serves as the perfect defense against this. Guardio is a web extension that you can add to any browser to protect you from cyber threats, with Guardio detecting threats before they reach your browser and cause any harm, unlike traditional solutions that only remove threats once they're on your device, which is really important because in the past I've seen friends just click on a wrong website link and had their computers destroyed with viruses, and that's why Guardio is so important in preventing this from happening in the first place. And they will perform a free security scan that only takes 30 seconds to detect existing threats found on the user's browser, and after completing the scan, users can continue to a 7-day free trial to remove existing threats and enable real-time protection, with Guardio users both free and premium being able to access their dashboard at any time to run the scan and track their activity. And this identity monitoring is cross-platform, so if you sign up through your mobile, you'll get real-time alerts once your data is breached or leaked, meaning that you can take action immediately. So it's no surprise that Guardio is trusted by over 1 million users, and now they have an exclusive offer for you guys with 20% off the monthly subscription. So if you want a clean and secure browsing experience, again, go to guard.io/moon, link in the description, and check out that affordable premium plan for full protection. So if Tencent could so successfully control China, why not develop the system around the entire world? This would be the perfect stepping stone for China's plans of global dominance, which is why Tencent has bought so many foreign companies. They went after the games companies that we've already mentioned, and on top of this, they had their eyes on social media sites. If they could influence them or directly interfere with the public opinion in other countries, they would buy the social media app.
TikTok!
With the CCP to expand its influence and censorship overseas. It's very likely that Tencent used their ownership stakes in foreign companies to push them away from saying anything that might upset the CCP. Possibly the most famous incident of this was at the Hearthstone tournament in 2019. Blix Chung, one of the competitors, had the prize revoked and was banned after openly supporting the Hong Kong freedom fighters. Blizzard, which is partially owned by Tencent, completely refused to back down even after the intense worldwide criticism. And as you expect, other companies could see that Chinese capitulation was a bad idea. Tencent understood that they could easily manipulate foreign companies into towing the party line. By controlling Western companies, they could control Western culture. And it goes way beyond just social media sites and games companies. The manager of the Houston Rockets tweeted his support towards Hong Kong. And in response, Tencent refused to air any of their games. It looked like a lengthy standoff was about to happen. But instead of fighting it back against this injustice, against this totalitarian regime, both the manager and the NBA itself completely folded to Tencent.
People apologize. We love China, we love playing there.
both releasing public apologies and asking China for forgiveness for their inappropriate actions. These successes have only made Tencent bolder. They weren't just going to silence individual people, they were going to implement blanket censorship into their platform. In November of 2019, pro-democracy candidates won key victories in Hong Kong. When Chinese Americans tried to talk about this on their American WeChat accounts, they got banned. One user from Texas said the pro-China candidates totally lost in a group chat and was later removed from the platform. This kind of removal has been common in China for years, and now it's spreading outside of the country at an alarming rate, seeping into all of the Western countries. ByteDance, the Chinese giant that owns TikTok, followed suit and started censoring on their platform as well, banning one US
LeBron's one of the biggest.
and CCP work camps, removing all of their videos on the topic. I mean, CCP censorship abroad has ramped up so much in the past few years, and it's all been facilitated by these giant companies like Tencent. But possibly the most sinister development is related to Tencent buying parts of social media companies. When the news broke a few years ago that the Chinese giant was investing $150 million into Reddit, the site went into uproar. Immediately, a picture from the Tiananmen Square protests received over 200,000 upvotes. But whilst Tencent didn't rise to the challenge with this particular post, Reddit has a very shaky history of removing posts related to Hong Kong and other Chinese pressure points. In fact, I have a whole video going into this called The Tragic Tale of Reddit. But the most concerning thing about Tencent's ownership of Reddit is the user data. Because in an Amnesty International report on companies, Tencent scored 0 out of 100 on its treatment of data. This was because of massive problems with transparency and where the data ended up. Now that Tencent owns a substantial part of Reddit, they have access to all of the data. And not only this, but they have huge sway within the company, as their investments represent more than 10% of Reddit's value. And Reddit's just the tip of the iceberg here. Discord, for example, was also involved with Tencent, but to an even greater degree. In fact, Tencent was involved in the creation and funding of Discord from the beginning, and over time they've poured more and more money into the company, all while the Chinese government pours more and more money into Tencent, becoming a vicious cycle. And this is all for a reason, because if Discord can host the world's conversations, China has eyes everywhere. As the data that Discord collects adds to Tencent's vast collection of user data.
It's probably one of the reasons why the quartering is not using Discord anymore.
And of course, if Tencent has access to this, then so does the CCP.
It's been talking shit about the Discord for a couple years now.
And that's why Tencent isn't just interested in these investments as purely financial, because Discord and Reddit influence hundreds of millions of people, if not billions. And by now, everyone knows the power of social media and public opinion. I mean, entire election campaigns live and die on the internet now. And so with Tencent's massive investments into huge social media sites, they can then have direct access to these mechanisms that sway public opinion. By subtly influencing these companies, the CCP can indirectly shape public opinion and interfere with discussion. Every foreign investment is just more soft power for China, all while China bans all of the Western social media sites, banning all Western interference into their internet, going so far as to build the Great Chinese Firewall.
Websites such as Google, YouTube, and Facebook are either blocked completely or slowed to a crawl and throttled to an almost unusable state. Known as the Great Firewall of China, this censorship engine allows the Chinese government to regulate the internet and protect its citizens from dangerous content.
But this is only one part of China's three-pronged technological attack. Tencent buys out companies and uses this influence to interfere with the West, with companies like ByteDance working in tandem with Tencent. For those who don't know, ByteDance is the company that created TikTok, which has been one of the CCP's greatest accomplishments of all time, having access to data from 1.5 billion users and controlling the hearts and minds of Generation Z. And although TikTok has publicly stated that the information doesn't end up in the Chinese government's hands, unfortunately what they say doesn't really with ByteDance, the Chinese parent company. And ByteDance is no different than Tencent. It's also managed by the CCP, and in fact it grew from the ground up in the exact same way as Tencent. And the thing is, the US government knows this, and this is what led to the Trump administration moving to ban the app in 2020. And that's why the FBI is investigating Tencent and ByteDance. And its unchallenged influence on the world is the second part of China's attack. And then the third way that China is using technology to gain soft power is through Huawei, the Chinese infrastructure and hardware giant. Huawei has been building tech infrastructure around the world for years, and now their parts are instrumental in cellular and information infrastructure across the world. And Tencent and Huawei work perfectly together. You see, Huawei provides the hardware and the infrastructure, allowing the CCP to get direct access to billions of devices and networks around the world. And Tencent then provides the software. Through their apps and their investments, they give the CCP an unlimited information source on the Western populace. And so with both of these companies, China has an incredibly detailed picture of every aspect of Western society. But only recently have governments woken up to the fact that this is such a terrible idea. With the Chinese made parts of nearly every cell tower or 5G mast, it's almost impossible to know anymore if privacy even exists. And it isn't just as simple as replacing the parts. Huawei's infrastructure is so widespread that it would shut down the entire network if you removed it. And the UK is the perfect. The UK was then forced to remove it. Huawei until the end of 2027 to remove Huawei. Huawei can start. This is part of China's grand strategy. It's a new type of warfare. This is the Cold War 2.0, because by using these tech companies to expand China's technological reach, it's given them massive influence over the West and massive revolutionary potential for espionage. The fuel to sway Western culture, and it goes way beyond just this. This control of technology, with Huawei, ByteDance, and Tencent's global presence, and give the CCP incredible leverage over the entire world. However, there is some light at the end of the tunnel, because it hasn't been all.
It did go out temporarily. It's gonna get better. I'm on the turnpike now.
US. In fact, it came from the CCP itself. You see, China's in an absolute nightmare with COVID, and we've already released a video going into the massive problems China's economy faces. And so right now, to consolidate power, Xi Jinping has moved to take much more control of tech companies. He started doing this in 2021, when the Chinese tech giants were given anti-monopoly fines totaling around $3.25 billion. And so of course, Tencent was included in this, and as a result, they saw their stock drop massively. These same practices that built Tencent into the CCP's instruments of power were now being punished. This was despite the fact that these moves had been given the green light just years before. And fines really aren't the only weapon the CCP is using either. Because after multiple Chinese tech billionaires started stepping out of line and showing their disloyalty to the CCP, would all disappear, only to return months later in a Chinese courtroom. Jack Ma, one of the founders of Alibaba, spoke out against the government, and after doing so, he disappeared for years.
The Chinese government cracking down on big tech companies, and Alibaba founder Jack Ma hasn't been seen in public for 2 months.
Only returning recently in exile. And so as a result of this tech crackdown, Tencent has been going through some hard times over the past year. At the beginning of 2022, Tencent was approaching the $1 trillion mark in their valuation. And from then, their stock prices began to fall. Every time the CCP announced another measure, they fell even more. And so today, Tencent has lost over $650 billion in its valuation, now sitting at around $300 billion, with more losses expected. This downward trend hasn't come out of the blue though. It's a result of multiple factors building up in China right now. The sky-high rent costs, the burst of their economic bubble, and their controversial zero-COVID policy, which entails massive lockdowns and even more intense control of the population. And because China's been in so much trouble recently, the government is now facing massive protests. In fact, China has been set on fire by riots and calls for Xi Jinping's removal. And Tencent's had an awful time managing this movement towards freedom, forcing the tech giants to censor their platforms even more, with the CCP ordering them to take on way more censors to fill the void. However, the CCP thinks that Tencent isn't doing enough to control the population, causing the government to lose trust in its ability to help the state. And this is a huge reason for the company's devaluation, as the truth is still pouring out in China's social media, embarrassing the CCP globally. And one of the key flaws in Tencent's system is that the protesters have found ways of beating Tencent's algorithms. One of the most famous methods is to hold up a blank sign, because people understand its meaning, but the bots and censors tasked with policing WeChat and QQ don't. Protesters also share vague messages without obvious meanings to voice their support, which are also hard to recognize by bots and censors. And whilst this is great for the Chinese population, this is awful for Tencent, and even worse for the Chinese government, which is why it's uncertain whether the conglomerates will ever recover from this. The FBI has been making very strong statements condemning TikTok, with China's control of recommendation algorithms, among many, many other problems. And his voice has been joined by many around the world. Huawei's also in a similar situation, being removed from many countries in Europe and being completely banned by the US government. And it seems like Tencent is next. However, Chinese technological infiltration isn't a problem that's going to go away very soon, as Tencent still owns massive portions of major Western companies. In fact, they're a vital cog of the West's economic system. And even with the US government's concerns, TikTok still hasn't been banned, with their revenue actually going up despite the economic hardship. And its influence and impact on the world just seems too large to disappear. And Huawei's physical influence will remain global infrastructure for years, even with countries actively trying to remove it as fast as possible. So while everyone's starting to wake up to the threat that China poses to the world, the damage has been done, and the process of removal of Tencent, Huawei, and TikTok may take years, if not decades, and it remains unclear where Tencent's future lies.
Man, thanks for that recommendation. Is that new? No, traffic's not bad at all. So far. A few months ago. Yeah, I'm looking at his videos now. Yeah, just go at least get the app on your on one of your laptops or on your phone. If you put it on your phone, it's PokerStars Lite. That's a year ago.
From your sperm developing two heads to running out of drinking water, genetically engineered superviruses, nuclear war, and trillions of jellyfish, the next 100 years really aren't looking good for humanity. And here's just a few of the reasons the world population will plummet by 80% over the next century. Beginning with the growing crisis of fertility rates. You see, sperm counts in men across the world have dropped by over 50% in just 50 years, from an average of over 100 million per milliliter to just 49 million. And now for context, anything under 50 million makes conception incredibly difficult. And with this decline speeding up -2% every single year, more and more men risk infertility. Now, BPA and other plastics have been shown to massively interfere with hormone levels during pregnancy, which often leads to low testosterone and deformed sperms. This is why, for the first time in history, our sperm is now having deformities like two tails or the wrong amount of heads, making your own sperm unable to function properly. Which is why over the next few decades, you're going to see more and more of your friends and family unable to ever have a child of their own. By 2025, average sperm counts will have slipped below the healthy minimum, and then as this trend continues, they'll have reached zero by 2049. This crisis is going to get much worse in the run-up to 2030, which feeds directly into the next massive problem humanity faces, the collapse of the traditional family structure. Now, regardless of whether it's a symptom of societal progression or moral degradation, it's a fact that couples are having children much later on in life. Because in Western society, we're now placing careers, power...
For what? For the desktop?
And that's why the worldwide average of how many children a woman will have has now dropped significantly in just the past half century, from over 5 to just 2.4. And in many Western countries, most
for what, your phone or desktop?
Japan, the UK, America all face population collapse. Because as countries get richer, this problem just becomes worse and worse. Singapore, for example, has a birth rate of just 1.3 on average.
Phone, it's PokerStars Lite, LITE.
By 2030, there'll be over 1 million less children in the UK and over 1 million more pensioners. And the consequences for these countries is a much heavier burden on young people to support the old, which just pushes the birth rate even lower as a result. Over the 2030s, the damage this has done will be plain to see. People cite education and contraception as the root cause of this, but this really isn't the full picture at all. And this leads on to one of the main problems that Generation Z faces.
I put it on my work phone.
Young men who have had their testosterone and sperm destroyed haven't even had relations with a woman since they turned 18, triple what it was just 10 years ago. These hollow digital replacements for real human contact are partly to blame, as they are physically changing the brains of Generation Z and help sweeten the bitter pill of loneliness for a long time. But this is just the start. With ChatGPT and AI on the rise, new AI girlfriends and boyfriends will be the next level of this. As how could real people hope to compete with design perfection?
Well, not real money.
Dating is also a massive factor. Today's young men have to compete with thousands thousands of others now. Instead of just competing with 6 other men in your tribe, you've now got to compete with thousands of people, all who are desperate for any woman they can get, leading to an ever-increasing inequality in the dating marketplace, where 80% of the women only want to date 20% of the men. I mean, at the rates we're seeing today,
good, on the way home.
Half of all young men will be out of the dating pool by around 2040.
Still got about an hour and 20 minutes.
Immeasurably. And this is because with our societal progression, people are being taught that bringing up children is just a burden.
There's nobody in here that can walk the wife through downloading the PokerStars app, is there?
Instead, the true population decline will come from catastrophic disasters and new
on the iPhone.
The 2040s and beyond will be when our advanced technology truly gets dangerous. This video is brought to you by Manscaped.com, the global men's lifestyle brand that's disrupting the men's grooming market. Manscaped is trusted by more than 8 million men worldwide for their trimmers, liquid formulations, and premium boxers. And their Performance Package 4.0 is a game changer.
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
Men's grooming and hygiene.
I just know in the Android store it's PokerStars Lite.
Electric trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade designed to reduce grooming accidents and has a 4,000 LED spotlight for when you need
9 p.m. our time.
You thought that was good, but want to take your grooming game to the next level? The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the new Weed Whacker 2.0 nose and ear hair trimmer. The Weed Whacker 2.0 uses a powerful 7,000 RPM motor and upgraded cutting-edge performance from their first-generation Weed Whacker to better whack your weeds. The Weed Whacker 2.0 is cordless, rechargeable, and has a battery with up to 45 minutes of runtime. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped anti-chafing boxes and the Shed travel bag. So go to manscaped.com today.
Hey wifey, just put it on one of your laptops.
Promo code MOON at checkout. That's 20% off plus free shipping with promo code MOON at manscaped.com. Developments in AI are
your Surface, maybe.
Possibilities. Ray Carswell, Google's director of engineering, predicts that we're going to reach AI singularity.
I don't know.
What does that even mean? Well,
it's called PokerStars Lite. It is play money, but I think there's some apps that aren't going to work, that don't work. You can't even find the stuff. I mean, it doesn't take long to set it up if you want to just wait till I get home.
Far past our levels of understanding, and at that point, it's impossible to predict what AI will do next. And that's why Google's recent study with Oxford University now states that there's a 10% chance AI will wipe out humanity. And these are the people who are creating it saying this. A super intelligent AI is incredibly likely to see us as an existential threat, seeking to wipe humans from the face of the earth before we can ever turn it off. Nietzsche foresaw this when he talks about the concept of the Übermensch, where he argued,
I don't know, it's going to be late. It's going to be 9:15 by the time I get there.
AI is the pinnacle of morality, not humanity, as AI serves as a moral standard and
it's up to you, I don't care.
But as Nietzsche also argued, and thus spoke Zarathustra, AI also lacks what makes you human in the first place. For Nietzsche, people are defined by a relationship between order and chaos, and AI would be entirely governed by order. But without
we can just go to local time.
Impulse, it would never be inhibited, which is why it will inevitably overtake humanity. And so to stop this one-dimensional threat of AI, we need to have much stricter controls on its development before it's too late. It will be in the 2050s or possibly earlier that a sentient AI capable of ending civilization could be created. But you see, the threat of AI wiping out humanity is just a 10% chance here. The real threat from AI comes from how society would deal with how many of us it's going to replace in the future. Just like in the Industrial Revolution,
no, it's not. No.
Millions of people from their livelihoods.
Maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. I gotta go tomorrow. I gotta go all the way to Pittsburgh from the Toledo area.
The AI revolution is just going to be so much larger. Whole industries will be made obsolete once their jobs are affected by AI. Jobs like
because Google's a pain in the ass now to add a new Google business address. They used to mail you the little postcard with a code on it. Now they want you to do a video on site. I guess they've had too much fraud.
The way that we abuse our own natural resources today is going to cost us dear.
Yeah, to do a 15-minute video logged in with the Google account.
Water shortages are expected to significantly worsen by 2050. The latest UN prediction states that over 5
But we'll just make it a trip to Pittsburgh, go out to eat and stuff.
It gets so much worse from it. Fresh water levels simply can't keep up with increased demand. Without the continued development of innovations in converting seawater or other solutions into pure water, countries like Brazil and India in particular will be dealing with perpetual droughts. This in turn will devastate crop yields, causing massive famines and significant reductions in population, not to mention global wars surrounding this issue. That's why the massive droughts that we're seeing today will be nothing compared to what's going to happen in the 2060s and beyond. And you see, it's not just fresh water we need to worry about. The oceans are going to be significantly changing over the next century, as human waste is making them more acidic. The oxygen levels are changing, and the nature is being infested with plastics. All of this plus massive increases in fishing has decimated our ocean ecosystems, leaving the door open to other forms of life like jellyfish. Now, jellyfish aren't as affected by pollution. In fact, they're now starting to thrive as we remove their main predators. And by 2080, they may be all that's left in the ocean. Studies now predict that our abuse of the oceans is going to leave 70% of them without enough oxygen to sustain fish populations, making the famines we're already predicting even worse. And so if we ruin the planet and wipe ourselves out, the jellyfish will be one of the main things left to inherit the Earth. And as crazy as this sounds, it's predicted that by 2070, real fish will have become a luxury product, only affordable for the top 1%, the rest of us being left with nothing but jellyfish. What these giant corporations are doing to the planet right now is going to affect every aspect of nature, not just the oceans. And we're already starting to see the destabilizing effects it's having. Recent natural disasters like floods and wildfires have been getting so much more common because of how quickly the climate changes.
Alright, now we're getting into climate change BS.
Some of them are hotter and drier, whilst having the opposite effects in other parts of the world. And these kinds of disasters cost the US alone nearly $150 billion, twice what it was just the year before. And the result is that the world will be assaulted by disaster after disaster, which just compounds to make everything that we've already spoken about even more hard to deal with. It's predicted that by 2080, extreme weather events will be happening at least 4 times as much as today.
Yeah.
Today,
Y'all have good company tomorrow.
Which is why it's possible that giant cities like London and Miami may be wiped out in the very near future. But to be honest, the most dangerous threats of the world are completely man-made. Despite social media sites banning people and censoring anyone who mentions it, authorities are now being forced to recognize that COVID was almost certainly leaked from a laboratory. With genetic tampering technology getting more and more advanced, the next viral weapon outbreak will be so much worse. This might be the most dangerous thing to humanity. Already, scientists and labs have made things like mousepox, a man-made disease that killed almost 100% of mice it was tested on. Something like this leaking out of a laboratory could almost certainly wipe out entire populations. But already natural diseases are getting so much more dangerous. Because of how many antibiotics are thrown at people and livestock, bacterial resistance to them has drastically increased. These superbugs are becoming impervious to modern medicine, meaning we can easily see the return of diseases like tuberculosis, gonorrhea, and even the plague. And for reference, the Black Death killed 30 to 50% of Europe when it took hold. And so if you take into consideration the idea of mousepox and these new superbugs, an engineered disease in our ultra-globalized world could be incredibly devastating, which is why by at least 2090, it will be very possible for rogue organizations and terrorists to develop these kinds of weapons, which is undoubtedly the biggest existential threat for humankind. And so with all of these things in mind, it would be a miracle if the world escapes without a major conflict in the next 100 years. But as we all know, it's very likely that we will see one in this next century. Our previous wars always led to millions of deaths, but with the destructive power of over a century of weapons development, the next total world war will be a lot worse. Now, a nuclear war might not end humanity or even civilization as a whole, but it could have an awful effect on the population, and the resulting nuclear winter might kill more people than the conflict itself. Years or even decades of a blackened atmosphere.
Well, it looks like MCC's got a video on it. It looks like it's smurfing on it.
Just wouldn't be able to sustain a large population.
I'm gonna play
Not to
that.
mention wiping out entire cities across the world. The energy grid would turn off, the water would be poisoned, and this would be the most likely way that the world population would dramatically fall.
I don't know, I'm gonna check it out. Oh yeah, it is. Oh, the cops are funny. Huh? Oh yeah. Right on.
No shit.
No blinds on the window or the door. It's a beautiful building. Right? See ya. Yeah, secure turd. What What he said?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I think he said pain in the ass or something like
Oh,
that.
is that what he said?
Yeah.
Is that who gets smart? The security guy?
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Where?
Some girl in there was shooing us away, so I shoot her back and flip her off.
Oh, I gotta go to the other windows.
Where are they at?
That one right there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing games now.
Yeah.
Games are fun.
They are. Well, I don't think they have blinds for this window.
Oh, darn.
Driving your slow bananas. Right. Can we see frickin'? Let's see, where's where's Spanky? I don't see Spanky. There's the secure turn. Oh, here's the secure turn.
They're so bad.
Yeah, they are. Right? Oh, they don't have any blinds on this side, so it's all good. I think they're exiting the building now. Hey. Check that out, the back side of that building. The old plumbing supplies
Oh, yeah, I see that.
sign painted on the building
Yeah,
there.
one building, but not that one.
Oh, oops. Yeah, that's cool to see the old faded painting on
The city looks familiar.
the No, we don't. No, we're not. We're not recording inside of a restaurant. Don't need it. We're not inside. But we're not inside. We don't need permission on the public sidewalk. Anything we can see from public, we can record. Yeah, no, you're gonna tinkle snow.
Perfect for
That's cool.
There's always
Yep,
a reason.
always a reason. We're not making anything for anybody. No, we're not making them uncomfortable. Their feelings are. We don't control their feelings. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Just shut up.
Yeah, just go back inside and do your job, guys. Your job's not out there on the sidewalk. It really is.
He's getting tired of it. He's just, not anymore, he's just like, shut up. Frickin' says it too.
Hostile, that's funny.
Go back inside and do your job. It's in there, not out there.
Right, exactly.
You just shut up and go back inside.
We can stand here and film all night, dum-dum.
Bye. falling, man.
Yeah. They're melting in there and they're falling out here.
Turn it sideways to get a better picture. Turn it sideways to get a better picture.
No, it's okay, but
Turn it sideways to get a better picture.
It's funny. This is hilarious. What?
This bit's stupid.
What'd she say?
This bit's stupid.
No, what did she say?
Why y'all recording me?
Oh, no, I wasn't recording you. I was just recording inside in general.
Okay, that's all I'm asking. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm
I
just,
know it's probably
I don't even know you, so.
I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah, no worries. No, I was just recording inside in general to see what it was like, you know what I mean? Without coming in. Yeah, don't call the police. That's like for your community's resources.
Right.
They need to be out there fighting real crime. Right? Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh no, she said stop! She said stop!
Oh, this one's straight ahead.
This one's straight ahead. It's tripping. She's all.
This one's gonna get the can back.
Small way, boy, small way.
I'm behind her with my camera on top of it, so she can't see me.
Rain and snow. Here. It's time to go.
Oh, she ducked. She ducked.
Rain and snow, I guess it's time to go. My phone just said no and just closed out the camera.
It means you're out of space.
you want to fucking fight, man?
Really? Try that again, bitch. Try it again, bitch. Yeah, come on, try it again. Fucking stupid bitch.
Pepper spray was out.
She just tried to break my shit. That stupid bitch just come on and tried to break my shit.
You got your face on you?
Oh yeah, she almost got a face full of it. Who wants the next?
I can't.
Go back in there and work. Go back in there and work.
Oh, they're doing wine samples. That's cool. Yeah, wine samples. Right on.
Feel me?
What's up?
You should go back in there and do your job, bro. It's in there, not out here. Your job's in there, not out here. It doesn't matter what you can or can't have. What matters is what I can or can't do. And I have to stand right there on the sidewalk and take all the pictures I want.
That's
Go
right.
back in there and do what you get paid to do and service all of these customers. And get that hell out of
Oh, that's a cool little piano. Got a drum set over there, piano. That's pretty cool. These two windows are still wide open. Nope, not anymore. Somebody's coming out.
You back the fuck up. You gonna pull a knife? You gonna pull a knife?
Get away from this
I
place
dare you to
now.
open that fucking knife, lady. Shut the fuck up and go back inside.
She got
And
it.
that's what you get. Crazy ass bitch.
Fucking knife on somebody.
Right in the face. A little bit of orange squirt.
Fucking knife on somebody. What's wrong?
Right in the eye.
Nah, back up. Back the fuck up. Back the fuck up.
You back the fuck up, dumbass.
All of you.
You back the fuck up.
Pull the knife out.
You gonna pull a knife?
Back the fuck
You
up.
gonna pull a knife?
Get away from this
I
place
dare you to
now.
open that fucking knife, lady. Shut the fuck up and go back inside.
Crazy ass Karen.
Fucking
wrong with people just gonna come out all irate like that, bitch?
Crazy.
And then pull a knife.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. What's wrong with people?
That was nuts. Get in front of me. Just in case they come out and run. That was crazy. They called Jeep up in front of us. I know, right?
Her dinner is not going to taste right at all.
Damn.
All right, we're out.
All right. Drive to local time, Whitehouse, Ohio.
With light traffic, it will take you 23 minutes to get to the Whirlpool Penske C2 warehouse by car.
What? That's not what I was asking. Drive to local time, Whitehouse, Ohio.
By car, the trip to Whitehouse is 50 minutes with light traffic.
This bitch. Drive to local time, Whitehouse, Ohio.
By car, the trip to Whitehouse
Dude.
is 50 minutes with light traffic.
I don't need to know how long it takes to get there. I want you to map it out, motherfucker. Oh well. Looks like Waze is acting weird now, so let's do this. Plug it. See if it'll work now. Drive to local time, Whitehouse, Ohio.
By car, the trip
Oh,
to
you
Whitehouse
bitch.
is 49.
Well, just go home. We'll call it home. Scanner on. Oh, no, I'm just not going to map to it. I'm just mapping to home. I can't type when I'm driving. No, it won't let you. I know how to get there. I just want to make sure I take the right exit. It's trying to force me to the airport exit, and I don't want to do the airport exit. I want to do this exit. All right, cool. No, we're still going. Yeah. Well, 75 to Toledo is, it's exit 64 is what it is. So. If you want, or I can come scoop you up, either one, I don't care. Alright, it's going to be a couple hours, I mean, before me and the wife are ready. We're going to go grab something to eat at a local tavern right there in the village we live in. Alright, that's fine. Well, to the house right now it says 9:16, so let's figure about 10 after 9. And if Whitehouse Inn is not open, it's probably going to be fucking packed. I just realized that. You might want to go early and try and get us someplace to sit, if they let you. I didn't see you, Chopper. Hi, 357. You were lurking, man. On the mobile app, the chat is only up there for like 3 seconds. Plus, I'm trying to drive at night, too. Hey, Anna. Is she in here? Let's just get ready to play a book. We'll just listen to the scanner for now. We got too much going on. Oh yeah? Yeah, you guys will probably get a couple games in before I even make it back online. I know I'm not going to be able to bring the stream into the tavern because it fucking smells horrible in there. Yeah, wifey's playing tonight, Anna. We'll get it downloaded and get her in it while we're eating dinner. Comment held for review. You're a mod. It shouldn't have held anything for review.
CT10 dispatch.
But you were up, way out
So,
there.
Google County, how many guys that can meet us at our stop? Very short-handed tonight. We got one out there, water.
This guy's going fast and slow, and now this guy behind me is approaching. He's pissy because he was approaching in the middle lane. Go around, motherfucker. Now this guy's going slow again in the middle lane. I got the cruise control set, so it ain't me speeding up and slowing down. It's this asshat. Sounds like the county sheriff at home is busy. They're short-staffed, they said, too, tonight. Shouldn't have paid all that overtime to do that checkpoint last Friday. Now look, now he's pulling away. Idiot. There's a cop up here too. Oh shit. Can't be too late tonight because we gotta go all the way to Pittsburgh tomorrow. And back. Oh, those are the ones I like to answer, especially the weird ones like that. Usually they're for Rachel. Scanner's pretty quiet. We're gonna switch to something else. Audible.
I decide whether it is the right thing to me. There is no right outside of me. If it is right for me, it is right. Possibly this may not suffice to make it right for the rest. That is their care. Not mine. Something were not right, but it were right for me. That is, I wanted it. Then I would ask nothing about the whole world. So everyone does who knows how to value himself. Everyone in the degree that he is an egoist, for might goes before right, and that with perfect right. Because I am by nature a man, I have an equal right to the enjoyment of all good, says Babylon. Must he not also say, because I am by nature a firstborn prince, that I have a right to the throne? The rights of man and the well-earned rights come to the same thing in the end, to wit, to nature, which gives me a right, that is, to birth and further inheritance. I am born as a man is equal to I am born as a king's son. The natural man has only natural.
Yeah, that front, I knew that front was coming.
Power and natural claims.
Looks pretty
He has
dark
right
ahead
to
of me. I haven't
birth.
even hit the rain
He has
yet.
right of birth and claims of birth, but nature cannot entitle me. Give me capacity or might
Yeah,
to that which
it's not even
only
sprinkling here
my
yet.
act entitles me. That the king's
And I
child
just
set
passed the
himself
Fremont.
above other children, even this is his act, which secures to him the precedence, and that the other children approve and recognize this is their act, which makes them worthy to be subjects. Whether nature gives me a right or whether God, or the people's choice, etc., does so, all of that is the same foreign right, a right that I do not give or take to myself. Thus, the communists say equal labor entitles man to equal enjoyment. Formerly, the question was raised whether the virtuous man must not be happy on earth. The Jews actually drew this inference, that it may go well with thee on earth. No, equal labor does not entitle you to it, but equal enjoyment alone entitles you to equal enjoyment. Enjoy then that you are entitled to enjoyment. But if you have labored and let the enjoyment be taken from you, then it serves you right. If you take the enjoyment, it is your right. If, on the contrary, you only pine for it without laying hands on it, it remains as before, a well-earned right of those who are privileged for enjoyment. It is their right, as by laying hands on it would become your right. The conflict over the right of property wavers in vehement commotion. The communists affirm that the earth belongs rightfully to
Well, we're not going to be out late, so they'll be all right.
To those who bring them out. I think it belongs to him who knows how to take it, or does not let it be taken from him, does not let himself be deprived of it. If he appropriates it, then not only the earth, but the rights to it too belongs to him. This is egoistic right. It is right for me, therefore it is right. Aside from this, right does have a wax nose. The tiger that assails me is in the right, and I who strike it down am also in the right. I defend against him, not my right, but myself. As human right is always something given, it always in reality reduces to the right which men give, concede to each other.
Ooh, that was pretty.
If the right to
I'm starting to see some lightning off to the west.
If it is
I love storms.
As was the case amongst the Spartans and ancient Romans, then they do not have it.
Might get a little might get some boom booms around here,
They
guys.
themselves cannot take it or give it to themselves.
The wife is saying
It would be
it's
objective
popping
that
off at the
children have
house, so
nevertheless by nature the right to
still
exist.
40 miles
Only the
east.
Spartans refused recognition to this right. But then they simply had no right to this recognition, no more than they had to recognition of their life by the wild beast to which they were thrown. People talk so much about birthright and complain, there is, alas, no mention of the rights that were born with us. What sort of right, then, is there that was born with me? The right to receive an entitled estate, to inherit a throne, to enjoy a princely or noble education, or again, because poor parents begot me, to get free schooling, to be clothed out of contributions of alms, and at last earn my bread and my herring in the coal mines or at the loom. Are these not birthrights that have come down to me from my parents through birth? You think no. You think these are only rights improperly so-called. It is just these rights that you aim to abolish through the real birthright. To give a basis for this, you go back to the simplest thing and affirm that everyone is by birth equal to another, to wit, a man. I will grant you that everyone is born as a man, hence the newborn are then equal to each other. Why are they? Only because they do not yet show and exert themselves as anything but bare children of men, naked little human beings. But thereby they are at once different from those who have already made something of themselves, who thus are no longer bare children of man, but children of their own creation. The latter possesses more than bare birthrights. They have earned rights. What an antithesis. What a field of combat. The old combat of the birthrights of man and well-earned rights. Go right on appealing to your birthrights. People will not fail to oppose you the well-earned. Both stand on the ground of right, for each of these two has a right against the other. The one the birthright of natural right, the other earned or well-earned right. If you remain on the ground of right, you remain in rich Thabarai. The other cannot give you your right. He cannot mete out right to you. He who has might has right. If you have not the former, neither have you the latter. Is this wisdom so hard to attain? Just look at the mighty and their doings. We are talking here only of China and Japan, of course. Just try it once, you Chinese and Japanese, to make them out in the wrong, and learn by experience how they throw you into jail. Only do not confuse this with the well-meaning counsels, which in China and Japan are permitted, because they do not hinder the mighty one, but possibly help him on. For him who should want to make them out in the wrong, there would stand open only one way thereto, that of might. If he deprives them of their might,
that's fine.
Then he has really made.
He'll probably have it already destroyed before we get home anyway.
In any other case, he can do nothing but clench his little fist in his pocket or fall victim as an obtrusive fool. In short, if you Chinese or Japanese did not ask after right, and in particular if you did not ask after the rights that were born with you, then you would not need to ask
turn on some calming music.
The well-earned rights either. You start back in fright before others because you think you see beside them the ghost of the right, which, as in Homeric combats, seems to fight as a goddess at their side, helping them. What do? Do you throw the spear? No! You creep around to gain the spook over to yourselves, that it may fight on your side. You woo for the ghost's favor.
Okay, I'm getting sprinkles now.
Ask this: do I will what my opponent wills? No! Now then there may fight for him 1,000 devils or gods. I go at him all the same. The common
I hope I don't run into a bad accident
among other stands for it. Ask that office holders be removed only by the judge, not by the administration. Vain illusion! If it were settled by law that an office holder who is once seen drunken shall lose his office, then the judges would have to condemn him on the word of the witness. In short, the lawgiver would only have to state precisely all the possible grounds which entail the loss of office, however laughable that might be. That is, he who laughs in his superiors' faces, who does not go to church, even Sunday, who does not take communion every 4 weeks, who runs in debt, who has disreputable associates, who shows no determination, etc., shall be removed. These things the lawgiver might take it into his head to prescribe for a court of honor. Then the judge would solely have to investigate whether the accused had become guilty of those offenses, and on presentation of the proof, pronounce sentence of removal against him in the name of the law. The judge is lost when he ceases to be mechanical, when he is forsaken by the rules of evidence. Then he no longer has anything but an opinion like everybody else, and if he decides according to this opinion, his action is no longer an official action. As judge, he must decide only according to the law. Commend me, rather, to the old French part. If his undertaking succeeds, it serves him right, and if it does not succeed, it likewise serves him right. You make your bed and lie in it. If someone goes foolhardily into dangers and perishes in them, then we are apt to say it serves him right. He would have it so. But if he conquered the dangers, if his might was victorious, then he would be in the right too. If a child plays with a knife and gets cut, it is served right. But if it doesn't get cut, it is served right too. Hence, right.
See that lightning, guys, off to the west? We're driving right into it.
What did he risk it for? Since he knew the possible consequences. But the punishment that we lay against it is only our right, not his. Our right reacts against his, and he is in the wrong at last because we get the upper hand. Society, too, in the law. Whatever the law may be, it must be respected by the real citizen. Thus the law-abiding mind of old England is eulogized. To this that Euripidean sentiment, or S 418, entirely corresponds. We serve the gods, whatever the gods are. Law as such, God as such, thus far we are together. People are at pains to distinguish.
It is literally lighting up the sky.
An ordinance. The former comes from a duly entitled authority, but a law over human action, ethical law, state law, etc., is always a declaration of will, and so in order. Yes, even if I myself gave myself law, it would yet be only my order, to which in the next moment I can refuse obedience. One may well declare enough what he will put up with, and so depreciate the opposite of the law, making known that in the contrary case he will treat the transgressor as his enemy, but no one has any business to command my actions, to say what course I shall pursue, and set up a code to govern it. I must put up with it, that he treats me as his enemy, but never that he makes free with me as his creature, and that he makes his reason or even unreason my plumb line. States last only so long as there is a ruling will, and this ruling will is looked upon as a tantamount to the own will. The Lord's will is law. What do your laws amount to if no one obeys them? What your orders if no one lets himself be ordered? The state cannot forbear the claim to determine the individual's will, to speculate and count on this. For the state, it is indispensable that nobody have an own will. If one had, the state would have to exclude, lock up, banish, etc. this one. If all had, they would do away with the state. The state is not thinkable without lordship and servitude, subjection. For the state must will to be the lord of all that it embraces, and this will is called will of state. He who, to hold his own, must count on the absence of will of others is a thing made by these others, as the master is a thing made by the servant. If submissiveness ceased, it would be over with all lordship. The own will of me is the state's destroyer. It is therefore branded by the state as a self-will. Own will and the state are powers in deadly hostility, between which no eternal peace is possible. As long as the state asserts itself, it represents own will, its ever hostile opponent, as unreasonable, evil, and the latter lets itself be talked into believing this. Indeed, it really is such, for no more reason than this, that it still lets itself be talked into such belief. It has not yet come to itself, and to the consciousness of its dignity. Hence it is still incomplete, still amenable to fine words. Every state is a despotism, be the despot ruled by the order, as one is likely to imagine, rather republic, if all beings, that is, despotize one over another. For this is the case when the law given at any time, the expressed violation of it may be in popular assembly, is thenceforth to be law for the individual, to which obedience is due from him, or towards which he has the duty of obedience. If one were even to conceive the case that every individual in the people had expressed the same will, and hereby a complete collective will had come into being, the matter would still remain the same. Would I not be bound today and henceforth to my will of yesterday? My will would in this case be frozen, wretched stability. My creature to which a particular expression of will would have become my commander. But I in my will, I the creator, should be hindered in my flow of my dissolution. Because I was a fool yesterday, I must remain such my life long? So in the state life I am at best, I might just as well say at worst, a bondman of myself.
Here it comes.
Because I was a willer yesterday, I am today without will. Yesterday voluntary, today involuntary. How change? Only by recognizing no duty, not binding myself or letting myself be bound. If I have no duty, then I have no law. But they will bind me. My will
Nobody's in here.
My declaration remains free. Why everything must go topsy-turvy if everyone can do what he would? Well, who said that everyone can do everything? What are you there for? Pray, you do not need to put up with everything. Defend yourself and no one will do anything to you. He who would break your will has to do it with you and is your enemy. Deal with him as such. If there stand behind you for your protection some millions more, then you are an imposing power and will have an easy victory. But even as a power you overawe your opponent. Still, you are not on that account a hallowed authority to him, unless he is a simpleton. He does not owe you respect and regard, even though he will have to consider your might. We're accustomed to classify states according to the different ways in which the supreme might is distributed. If an individual has it, monarchy. If all have it, democracy, etc. Supreme might, then. Might against whom? Against the individual and his self-will. The state practices violence. The individual must not do so. The state's behavior is violence, and it calls its violence law, that of the individual crime. Crime. So the individual's violence is called, and only by crime does he overcome the state's violence when he thinks that the state is not above him, but he is above the state. Now, if I wanted to act ridiculous, I might, as a well-meaning person, admonish you not to make laws.
It just says 0 viewers.
Self-activity, self-creation.
Thanks,
I do
Anna.
not give this advice, for if you should follow it, you would be unwise, and I should have been cheated of my entire profit. I request nothing at all from you. For whatever I might demand, you would still be dictatorial lawgivers, and must be so, because a raven cannot sing, nor a robber live without robbery. Rather, I do ask those who are equals what they think of their work to let laws be given them by you, and to respect those that are given, or to practice refractoriness, yes, and disobedience. Good-hearted people think the laws ought to prescribe.
Everybody's slowing down big time. Except for the couple jerks.
But what concern is it of mine what is accepted in the nation and by the nation? The nation will perhaps be against the blasphemer, therefore a law against blasphemy. Am I not to blaspheme on this account? Is this law to be more than declared to me? Solely from the principle that all right and all authority belong to the collectivity of the people do all forms of government arise. For none of them lacks this appeal to the collectivity, and the despot, as well as the president or any aristocracy, acts and commits in the name of the state. They are in possession of the authority of the state. It is perfectly indifferent whether it were this possible. The people, as a collective, all individuals, exercise this state authority, or whether it is only the representatives of the collective, as in markets. Always the collectivity is above the individual and has a power which is called legitimate, which is law. Over against the sacredness of the state, the individual is only a vessel of dishonor, in which exuberance, malevolence, mania for the ridicule, and slander, frivolity, are left as soon as he does not deem that object of veneration, the state, to be worthy of recognition. The spiritual haughtiness of the servants and subjects of the state has fine penalties against unspiritual exuberance. When the government designates as punishable all play of mind against the state, the moderate liberals come and opine that fun, satire, wit, humor, and must have free play anyhow. And genius must enjoy freedom.
Thank you.
So not the individual man indeed, but still genius is to be free. Here the state, or in its name the government, says with perfect right, he who is not for me is against me. Fun, wit, etc. In short, the turning of state affairs to a comedy have undermined states from of old. They are not innocent. And further, what boundaries are to be drawn between guilty and innocent wit? At this question, the moderates fall into great perplexity, and everything reduces itself to the prayer of the state, government, would please not be so sensitive.
Sorry, I didn't read that.
That it would not immediately scent malevolence and harmless things.
Hang on.
And would in general be a little bit more tolerant. Exaggerated sensitiveness is certainly a weakness. Its avoidance may be praiseworthy virtue. But in time of war, one cannot be spared. And what may be allowed under peaceable circumstances cease to be permitted as soon as a state of siege is declared. Because the well-meaning liberals feel this plainly. They hasten to declare that considering the devotion of the people,
I just went
there
through,
is assuredly no danger.
went through the toll, just got off Turnpike, so
will be wiser
about 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Believing anything of that sort. It knows too well how people stuff one with fine words, and will not let itself be satisfied with the Barmecide dish. But they are bound to have their playground, for they are children.
Music is good,
they cannot be so staid as old folks. Boys will be boys.
I'll bring it. I'll try and bring the stream in. We'll see.
For a few hours of jolly running about, they bargain. They ask only that the state should not, like a splenetic papa, be too cross. It should permit some possessions of the ashes and plays of fools, as the church allowed in the Middle Ages. But the times when it could grant this without danger are past. Children that now once come into the open and live through an hour without the rod of discipline are no longer willing to go into the cell. For the open is now no longer supplement to the cell, no longer refreshing recreation, but its opposite. And up, In short, the state must either no longer put up with anything or put up with everything and perish. It must be either sensitive through and through or, like a dead man, insensitive. Tolerance is done with. If the state but gives a finger, they take the whole hand at once. There can be no more jesting. And all jest, such as fun, wit, humor, becomes bitter earnest. The clamor of the liberals for freedom of press runs counter to their own principle, their proper will. Will what they do not want. They wish they would like. Hence it is too that they will fall away so easily once so-called freedom of the press appears, then that they would like censorship quite naturally. The state is sacred even to them, likewise morals. They behave towards it only as ill-bred brats, as tricky children who seek to utilize the weakness of their parents. Papa State is to permit them to say many things that cannot please him, but Papa has the right, by a stern look, to blue pencil their impertinent gap. If they recognize it in their power, they must, in his presence, put up with the censorship of speech of every child. If you let yourself be made out in the right by another, you must no less let yourself be made out in the wrong way. If justification of reward come to you from him, expect also his arraignment and punishment. Alongside right goes wrong, alongside legality crime. What are you? You are a criminal. The criminal is in the utmost degree the state's own crime, says Bettina. One may let this sentiment pass, even if Bettina herself does not understand it exactly. So
20 minutes, depending on how bad this road gets.
I, as in I belong to myself alone, cannot come to my fulfillment and realization. Every ego is from birth a criminal, to begin with against the people, the state. Hence it is that it does really keep watch over all. It sees in each one an egoist, and it is afraid of the egoist. It presumes the worst about each one and takes care, police care, that no harm happen to the state. Nequid respublica detrimenti capita. The unbridled ego, and this we originally are, and in our secret inward parts we remain so always, is the never-ceasing criminal in the state. The man whom his boldness, his will, his inconsiderateness, and fearlessness lead, is surrounded with spies by the state.
Actually, ain't bad.
I say by the people. The people. I think it's sometimes wonderful, you good-hearted folks, what you have.
Seems like most of the people are driving pretty safe.
The people is full of police sentiments through and through. Only he who renounces his ego, who practices self-reunification, is acceptable to the people. In the book cited, Bettina is throughout good-natured enough to regard the state as only sick, and to hope for its recovery, a recovery which she would bring about through the demagogues. But it is not sick. Rather, it is in full strength when it puts from its demagogues who want to acquire something for the individuals, for all. In its believers, it is provided with the best demagogues, leaders of the people. According to Bettina, the state is to develop mankind's germ of freedom. Otherwise, it is a raven mother and caring for raven fodder. It cannot do otherwise, for it is caring for mankind, which besides would have to be the humane or free state to begin with. The individual is raven fodder for it. How rightly speaks the burgomaster on the other hand. What? The state has no other duty than to be merely the attendant of incurable invalids? That isn't to the point. From the old, the healthy state has relieved itself of the diseased matter, and not mixed itself with it.
I'll try and bring it in. I'm going to try and bring this. Why are we hitting brakes? Why are we hitting brakes?
Cut off the robber branches without hesitation, that the others may bloom. Do not show
nobody in front of him.
Harshness,
but he's hitting the fucking brakes.
Its policy and religion. Point it to that. Accuse it of no wanting feeling, and sympathy revolts against this, but its experience finds safety only in its severity. There are diseases in which only drastic remedies will help. The physician who recognizes the disease as such but timidity turns to palliatives will never remove the disease, but may well cause the patient to succumb after a shorter or longer sickness. Fra Rapp's question: if you apply death as a drastic remedy, how is the cure to be wrought then?
You guys might get to hear some live music.
Why the state does not apply death against itself, but against an offensive death. It tears out and
that was a rumble strip.
etc. For the invalid state, the only way of salvation is to make man flourishing. If one here like Bettina understand by man the concept of man, she is right. The invalid state will recover by flourishing of man. For the more infatuated the individuals are with man, the better it serves the state's turn. But if one referred it to the individuals to all, and the authoress half does this too, because about man she is still involved in vagueness, then it would sound somewhat like the following. For an invalid band of robbers, the only way of salvation is to make the loyal citizen nourishing. Why thereby the band of robbers would simply go to ruin as a band of robbers, and because it perceives this, it prefers to shoot everyone who has a leaning towards becoming a steady man. In this book, Bettina is a patriot, or, what is little more, a philanthropist, a worker for human happiness. She is discontented with the existing order in quite the same way as it is the title ghost of her book, along with all who would like to bring the good old faith and what goes with it. Only she thinks contrariwise that the politicians, placeholders, and diplomats ruin the state, while those lay it at the door of the malevolent and the seducers of the people. What is the ordinary criminal but one who has committed the fatal mistake of endeavoring after what is the people's instead of seeking for what is his? He has sought despicable alien goods, has done what believers do who seek after what is God's. What does the priest who admonishes the criminal do? He sets before him the great wrong of having desecrated by his act what was hallowed by the state, its property, in which of course must be included even the life of those who belong to the state. Instead of this, he might rather hold up to him the fact that he has fouled himself in not despising the alien thing, but thinking it worth stealing. He could if he were not a person. Talk with the so-called criminal as with an egoist, and he will be ashamed. Not that he has transgressed against your laws and goods, but that he has considered your laws worth evading, your goods worth desiring. He will be ashamed that he did not despise you and yours together, that he was too little an egoist. But you cannot talk egotistically with him, for you are not so great as a criminal. You commit no crime. You do not know that an ego who is his own cannot desist from being a criminal. That crime is his life. And yet you should know it, since you believe that we are all miserable sinners. But you think surreptitiously to get beyond sin. You do not comprehend, for you are devil-free. That guilt is the value of. Oh, if you were guilty, but now you are righteous. Well, just put everything nicely to rights for your master. When the Christian consciousness or the Christian name draws up a criminal code, what can the concept of crime be but simply heartlessness?
Why the fuck has it got me doing
Each
that?
serving and wounding of a heart relation, each heartless behavior towards a sacred being is crime. The more heartfelt the relation is supposed to be, the more scandalous is the deriding of it, and the more worthy of punishment.
It's trying to steer me away from our normal exit.
To deny this love is a high treason worthy of death.
Yeah.
Adultery is a heartlessness worthy.
That's what I had on the way back
One
from
has no heart, no enthusiasm, no
when we stopped and got that stuff at that Myers.
So long as the heart,
it's got like a floral taste to it. It's not bad.
Only the heartful or soulful man enjoys the protection of others. That the man of soul.
I'll try one. Do they have it on tap?
That the moral man makes them. What contradicts these men's moral feelings? This they penalize. How should disloyalty, secession, breach of oaths, in short, all radical breaking off, all tearing asunder of honorable ties, not be flagitious and criminal in their eyes? Who breaks with these demands if the soul has for enemies all the moral, all the men of soul? Only Cromagranus mates are the right people to set up consistently a penal code of the heart, as a certain bill sufficiently proves. The consistent legislation of the Christian state must be placed wholly in the hands of the parsons, and will not become pure and coherent so long as it is worked out only by the parsonmen, who are always only half parsons.
Well, 7 minutes away.
Only then will every lack of soulfulness, every heartlessness be certified as an unpardonable crime. Only then will every agitation of the soul become condemnable. Every objection of criticism and doubt be anathematized. Only then is the own man, before for the Christian consciousness a convicted criminal to begin with.
Yeah, mine do too.
The
We
men of
both
the
need to go
revolution
see the eye
often talk
doctor.
of the people's just revenge as its right. Revenge and right coincide here. Is this an attitude of ego to an ego? The people cries that the opposite party has committed crimes against them. Can I assume that one commits a crime against me without assuming that he has to act as I see fit? And this action I call the right, the good, etc. The divergent action, a crime. So I think that the others must aim at the same goal with me. I do not treat them as unique beings who bear their law in themselves and live according to it, but as beings who are to obey some rational law. I set up what man is and what acting in a truly human way is, and I demand of everyone that this law become norm and ideal to him. Otherwise, he will expose himself as a sinner and criminal. But upon the guilty falls the penalty of the law. One sees here how it is man again who sets on foot even the concept of crime, of sin, and therewith that of right. A man in whom I do not recognize man is sinner, a guilty one. Only against the sacred thing are there criminals. You against me can never be a criminal, but only an opponent. But not to hate him who injures a sacred thing is in itself a crime, as Satan just cries out against Daniel. Are you not a criminal and responsible for not having hated the enemies of the fatherland? If, as in the revolution, what man is...
There must have been an accident up here earlier, but it looks like it's cleared.
Then from this concept of man, we have the well-known political offenses and crimes.
Oh, shit.
In all this, the individual man is regarded as reference.
What's this say?
And on the other hand, the general
ramp is going to be closed.
Is honored. Now, according to how this ghost is named, as a Christian, Jew, Muslim, good citizen, loyal subject,
now you get to see the dates.
Etc. Just so do those who
it's like they're going to close that ramp down for a bit.
The concept of man, as well as those who want to put themselves through, fall before the
main exit to get home.
And with what unction the butchery goes on here in the name of the law, of the sovereign people,
the other one
God,
too,
etc. Now, if the persecuted trickily conceal and protect themselves from the stern personical judges, people stigmatize them as Saint Just does those whom he accuses in that speech against them.
I can't read. It's too fucking
One is
dark.
to be a fool and deliver himself up to their mullah. Crimes spring from fixed ideas. The sacredness of marriage is a fixed idea. From the sacredness, it follows that infidelity is a crime, and therefore a certain marriage law imposes upon it a shorter or longer penalty. But by those who proclaim freedom as sacred, this penalty must be regarded as a crime against freedom. And only in this sense has public opinion in fact branded the marriage law. Society would have everyone come to his right and being, but yet only to that which is sanctioned by society. To the society right, not really to his right. But I give or take to myself the right out of my own plenitude of power. And against every superior power, I am the most impenitent criminal. Owner and creator of my right, I recognize no other source of right than me. Neither God nor the state, nor nature, nor even man himself, with his eternal rights of me, neither divine nor human right. Right in and of itself, without relation to me, therefore. Absolute right. Separated from me, therefore, a thing that exists in and for itself, an absolute, an eternal right, like an eternal truth. According to the liberal way of thinking, right is to be obligatory for me because it is thus established by human reason, against which my reason is unreason. Formerly, people invade in the name of divine reason against weak human reason. Now, in the name of strong human reason against egotistic reason, which is rejected as unreason. And yet none is real, but this is very unreason. Neither divine nor human reason, but only your and my reason existing at any given time is real, as and because you and I are real. The thought of right is originally my thought, or it has its origin in me. But when it has sprung from me, when the word is out, then it has become flesh. It is a fixed idea. Now I no longer get rid of the thought. However I turn, it stands before me. Thus men have not become masters again of the thought right, which they themselves created. Their creature is running away with them. This is absolute right, that which is absolved or unfastened from you. We, revering it as absolute, cannot devour it again, and it takes from us the creative power. The creature is more than the creature. It is in and for itself. Once you no longer let right run around free, once you draw it back into its origin, into you, it is your right. And that is right which suits you. Right has had to suffer an attack within itself. From the standpoint of right, we're being declared on the part of liberalism against privilege. Privileged and endowed with equal rights. On these two concepts turns a stubborn fight. Excluded or omitted would mean the same. But where should there be a power? Be it an imaginary one like God, law, or a real one like I, you. Of which it should not be true that before it all are endowed with equal
Lots of
rights.
electricity in there.
No respective person's holds. Everyone is equally dear to God if he adores him, equally agreeable to the law.
Whitehouse Inn still isn't
Only he is a
open.
law-abiding person. Whether the lover of God and the law is humpbacked
Pizza
and
place is
poor,
open,
poor
though.
or rich, and the like, that amounts to nothing for God and the law. Just so, when you are at the point of drowning, you like a Negro as a rescuer, as well as the most excellent Caucasian. Yes, in this situation, you esteem a dog not less than a man. But to whom will not everyone be also, contrariwise, a preferred or disregarded person? God punishes the wicked with his wrath. The law chastises the lawless. You let one visit you in every moment and show the other the door. The equality of right is a phantom, just because right is nothing more and nothing less than
handicap.
a matter of grace. Which, be it said, one may also acquire by his desert, for desert and grace are not contradictory, since even grace wishes to be deserved, and our gracious smile falls only to him who knows how to force it.
What's this guy doing? Jesus.
So people dream of all citizens of the state having to stand side by side with equal rights. As citizens of the state, they are certainly all equal for the state, but it will divide them and advance them and put them in the rear according to its special ends, if on no other account, and still more must it distinguish them from one another as good and bad citizens. Bruno Bauer disposes of the Jew question from the standpoint that privilege is not justified, because Jew and Christian have each some point of advantage over another, and in having this point of advantage are exclusive. Therefore, before the critic's gaze, they crumble into nothingness.
All right. Okay, let's see how this goes. Thunder. All right. Let's go in. But fuck it. All right. See how long this battery lasts without a extra one.